Hello, I am JJ and I'm an analyst for Tifo Football. We're going to talk about Jadon Sancho and where he's going to play for Manchester United. It's finally happened! The transfer rumour that would never go away. Yes, so he's there now. We're going to talk about where he fits into Manchester United, what they're really going to get, what it's going to look like in real life. And yeah, that's the thing. If you want to know more about Jadon Sancho and would like to know things that aren't in this video, do you know where you can go? That's right, you go to theathletic.com/Tifo Football, and there's some sort of offer that will be on at the time, and it will give you some sort of deal that you will enjoy. It's full of great stuff. Some really good writers are on there. They're really good. They know their things. They know their Sanchos. And yeah, so let's just look at Man United and Jadon Sancho. Let's do it now. Where does Jadon Sancho play for Manchester United? He's going to play, probably, most likely, on the right wing. So he is right-footed, he can play on the left, he can play on the right. He goes where he wants, he's Jadon Sancho. That's not the words of the song. But yeah, so he can play either side of this. United under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer almost always play a 4-2-3-1, almost because of Bruno Fernandes needs to be this number 10 in this position kind of here. Fernandes at Portugal can play in a 3, so that's something that Man United might do, and you have Sancho in this right wing here. Rashford's probably going to play on the left. Sancho can also play as a 10 when Fernandes can't play, so we can take him out and put in Mason Greenwood. So you're thinking, well, if Sancho's there playing right wing, what happens to Mason Greenwood? Suddenly he now has genuine competition for a place on that right wing. Greenwood's left-footed. He might actually become a centre forward. It's where he was playing when he was a youth player, and it'll eventually probably be his position. But you got Cavani there right now, or Rashford can play as the centre forward as well. Sancho could play as a 10, but really what we're going to see Sancho on the right wing with Fernandes in the middle here. Now, when United go forward, Shaw always overlaps. Rashford can get in here because he likes to shoot from these sorts of positions in this this half space here. We'll draw the half space, we see it. Yeah, when I say a yellow, when I say the half space, that's what I'm talking about, this sort of bit here. So Rashford likes to come out from out to in, go into these spaces here, and Sancho's going to do a lot of the same stuff from these sorts of positions here. But because he's right-footed, what he often does is he dribbles through players, he dribbles past players, he can go inside or outside them, gives you a good variation so defenders can't suddenly predict, right, well, I'll push you on your left foot, that's your weaker, it doesn't really matter, you can go past you anyway that way. If you show him wide, he can easily go past you there. And what Sancho will bring, especially to Manchester United, is he is in the top percentiles for similar positions in the top 5 European leagues for things like progressive carries of the ball, as in he makes things happen with the ball. He gets the team up the pitch, he moves them more than 5-10 yards every single time he gets on the ball. He's also in the top percentiles for things like progressive passes and chance creation, all these things that United need. Now, the problem that United have often had is when they play against a team sat in a low block. So if we put a random team they're playing against in something like a 4-5-1, I'll just put them up here. So this is where United have often come into some trouble. They tend to beat teams that push them and they can counter-attack because they've got the pace. They've got the pace and the ability to play in transition with like Pogba and Rashford, and even Cavani is good at that. Fernandes finds space in those positions. But when you get to these locked down defences, no space between the lines, what Sancho does that few players in the entire world really can do is he can just dribble at players and go through them. There are so many, if you go through clips of him playing on Y-Scout or on YouTube or anything, there's so many examples of him just dribbling through. He can do this, he can make things happen. He drags players out of position because they don't know how to defend against him, so he can take players on the outside. Players will get scared. That feels a little bit of space for him to come in here. Maybe McTominay comes in and joins in. You want to bring in winners to your squad if you're trying to improve like Manchester United are. And Sancho, although he's not won a huge amount of stuff, like he was part of the under-17, or the important part of the under-17 World Cup winning England side, so that's good. He won the DFB Pokal with Dortmund. He was one of the, I think he was the best player on the pitch. You could say he scored in it as well. That's his first major honour. He also finished 3rd in the UEFA Nations League. Come on now, what more do you need? Last season, 8 goals, 11 assists in the Bundesliga for Dortmund. Season before that, when Dortmund were a lot better, because they changed managers halfway through the season, weren't quite there. season before, 17 goals and 16 assists in 32 appearances. That's in the 2019-20 season. So the boy creates, he scores, he gets really close to goal an awful lot. Another thing you'll notice is that his touch maps often show if he starts right wing, he'll just go everywhere. He will rotate constantly, whether his teammates want him to or not. So you might have Rashford tries to hold his position here. Sancho will wander. He will go in and out of these sorts of spaces to get on the ball. He wants the ball constantly, and that's going to maybe make you think what to do with Wan-Bissaka here. So Wan-Bissaka, great defensively, one of the best tacklers of the ball in terms of right fullbacks that you'll see in the Premier League, but he's not the best crosser. What you'll probably end up doing with Sancho doing all this sort of movement is have to hold the position to keep the wide right width, so you keep your shape and allow Sancho to dance about between Cavani and Fernandes and Rashford. If Sancho then loses the ball going on one of these little mazy dribbles, he's there to win it back high up the pitch and allow United to play that way. What Wan-Bissaka can do is almost be like his teammate to help him, allow him to do these sorts of things. You know, if you don't experiment and you often lose the ball when you do, you're not going to score the goals. And that's what United need to be when they're playing a low block, is a bit braver, a bit more creative, that sort of thing. And on that note, Sancho's defensive numbers are not particularly great. He doesn't really defend. Doesn't mean he doesn't come back. He does do the work. He comes back and helps defend. But he's like similar in the way to certain players like not Messi. That's a bit of a high player to compare him to. But he doesn't win the ball a lot, he doesn't make a lot of tackles, he never wins aerial battles because he's kind of small and slight. That's not what his game is. So you lose a little bit defensively, but then you could say the same for kind of Greenwood when Greenwood's played in this position. And what you might get if Wan-Bissaka's not playing is a mystery right back that no one knows who it could possibly be. He might join here. It's Kieran Trippier. If he joins to play for Manchester United, you're going to get someone who can give you this kind of width, and that's really useful. In terms of the squad, another reason that Sancho's going to be a great player for United is they keep playing the same 11 almost every single week. That was the case last season. So you had Rashford could play for Cavani sometimes, you have Greenwood play for Cavani, but if Fernandes, you can't play Fernandes in every single game. You can't do it. You can't play Rashford every single game. You can't play Cavani and Greenwood. So now what they've got is a player who makes their squad much better. He's a better player. There's competition for places. Sancho can play on the left, he can play on the right. Greenwood has competition as well, which will just make him a better player because he has to work harder to get in the team. His current rival for that role is Dan James. He's a squad player. Cavani then has Greenwood pushing him, or Greenwood can learn from him. They might even bring another centre forward. You don't know, that's conjecture, I don't know. But yeah, United are just a much better team purely because Sancho is a better player than pretty much what they have already. He takes them up a level and will be, I would imagine, amazing in the Premier League for Manchester United. So well done to them for signing him. And if you want to follow Sancho's adventures in the world of Manchester United, guess where you can do that? That's right, it's Tifo IRL, this thing here. You might already be a subscriber. Thanks for doing that. We like that very much that you did that. But if you haven't subscribed yet, do that. And you can like the video as well. It helps with the algorithm and YouTube. And you know all this stuff. You've seen YouTube before, haven't you? But yeah, that's it. That's Jadon Sancho. That's where he fits into Manchester United. We'll see you later.